Hello, my name is Martin. Welcome back to another video. River Medlock. Let me come up there and talk to you. Medlock number 12. And you join me on a journey following Manchester's River Medlock from Phillips Park in the east of the city centre through to where it finally joins the River Irwell. So this is number 12. This is the final one. So on this one it's quite unique because on this one, in previous Medlocks we've followed the river downstream with its flow. This is different in that we have to follow the river upstream from actually where it meets the Irwell upstream to this big obstruction, which is basically the diversion tunnel. The diversion tunnel messes everything up on Medlock number 12. I will explain what the diversion tunnel is, and I will explain and you'll see why we couldn't continue to follow it downstream. But anyway, the journey starts on the River Irwell. We're on a kayak and we're about to turn into the River Medlock. Okay, so let me quickly show you where we are. I'll keep these map bits to a minimal, but it's just to give it context. There's the Beetham Tower, there's GMX, and there is the Mancunian Way. Let's just zoom in here. As you can see here, you've got the River Irwell meandering through Manchester and Salford. And if we go down here, keep your eye on this big grey building here. Right, there is the Medlock meeting the Irwell. That's it. Probably should have shown you that at the end of the video, at the end of the series, and we're going upstream, so I have to show you it now. We've come in here off the Irwell, turned there into the Medlock. Let's just zoom in a bit more. There you go, there's the area there. And I'm about to paddle up there and get stuck on that sandbank there. Just stay there, shouldn't I? Running around. So can I be able to push yourself off here?
Yeah, push yourself backwards, lad.
What I'm going to show you first is you can't see it through this arch here, but through this railway arch is a set of locks. This is called Hume Locks, and it goes under the railway arch, and you'll notice here is a canal basin, and here's the Bridgewater Canal here. The canal basin is actually attached to the Bridgewater Canal. Bridgewater Canal, about 1765, built by the Duke of Bridgewater to bring his coal in from Worsley, and it ended up at Castlefield. So there's the basin there, and the locks underneath here. Impressive set of locks. So let's take a look at them. So, Hume Locks, incredible. The amount of times I've stood up there, looked down into the locks and tried to take a closer look. And I'm actually down here now at Hume Locks. This is where all the boat traffic came off the Bridgewater and down in this little short bit of the Medlock, and then onwards down the Irwell. So it's great to see them from this point of view, absolutely amazing. So it was quite intimidating floating through here, through these massive lock gates and going into this lock, because it's just towering above you. And of course you've got the railway arch above you, towering way above you as well. And those gates in front that are just coming into view now, behind there is like, what, 9 foot of water? How big are those gates? But the water comes to the top of those gates. I'm going to give you a little view from the other side in a minute, but you're well aware of what's on the other side of those gates. But fantastic to be down here. Look how high up we are there. You can't really downplay the strategic importance of these locks. Any boat traffic that was coming from east of Manchester, or even originating in Manchester, and that wanted to head to anywhere industrial between Manchester and Liverpool, the port of Liverpool, would have used Hume Locks, because these were the gateway to the Irwell navigation and later the Manchester Ship Canal. So really important, would have seen loads of traffic. So now derelict, you know, the strategic importance was incredible. So we're actually in the Medlock now. I'll just turn the camera around. We've come from that way, that's the Irwell. And John is down there in the Medlock. And you can see we're just at the side of the massive railway viaduct there. Probably not up to my usual standard, not that I have a standard, but I'm trying to steer a boat and talk to the camera at the same time. There you go, and that's a mid-1800s map of the area. You'll see the basin with the red X and the locks flow on underneath the railway lines from there. And I've put a blue arrow on the River Medlock, and you can see it's just all industrial. Dacker Mills and Worsley Mills, and the Medlock at this point is kind of in a canyon, if you like, next to those railway arches. And here's a picture of it. I'm not even sure, if that mill in the distance with the chimney is actually Dacker Mill. It could well be, because that picture's from this location. But you can see how it was, and the river would have been filthy at that time. Okay, so let me do a quick explainer. All the bits that you see on the kayak were filmed in 2019. And indeed, the last Medlock that I put out was in 2019. So why has it took so long? Well, 2020 happened, life went on hold for everyone, as you know. We kind of lost the thread. Other projects had come up, Cornbrook, and Medlock kept getting put on the back burner. Intended to do it in 2023, I didn't even get that done. So here we are, 2024. So I'm sorry I lost the thread, but I always intended to finish the series, and that's what we're doing. Here we are. So everything else you see is filmed in 2024. I have to thank Kev and John. So here they are, 2019, and they got me out off my arse onto the kayak and encouraged me to go and do this section of the Medlock that otherwise would have been quite inaccessible. So a big thank you to Kev and John for doing that day. I really am grateful. And we got into the diversion tunnel further than you would do normally if you was going to try and wade in. So I owe these two guys a lot. I hope you're watching. I've never forgot you. Thank you very much. As you can see, the railway arches dominate round here. Okay, so where are we going now? Well, we've come out here, we've come out a few locks here, and we're going to go up this way alongside the railway arches. I can show you what it's like under those railway arches, but they're quite high up and the river's quite low down here. Quite shallow in this bit now. Keep running aground on bits of rock. Shallow bit, got to drag the boat. And the weird thing is, I'm just in trainers and shorts. Normally I've got waders on, I don't even feel the water, so this is cold. And now onwards, that way, further up the Medlock towards Castlefield we're going now. So we're going to. It comes up here under the Mancunian Way and then takes an angle that way, and then runs along here and ends up over here back at Castlefield. It's a killer, that, isn't it? So we're right in Castlefield now. Literally here is Castle. In fact, we're down at Potato Wharf, aren't we? This is Potato Wharf. Two culverts here, quite a large one and a very small scary one. We're going to go that way, so we're going in there. So finally we get to go into the diversion tunnel. I will explain what the diversion tunnel is, but that rather large tunnel there you're looking at with the calm waters is nothing like the other side of it. The other side of it, I'm going to show you, the river violently goes into a small tunnel. So what we're looking at there is remarkable compared to the entrance. Right, so the diversion tunnel. Let me firstly show you the route. Okay, so I've plotted it on an old map because this is the only map that shows the actual route of the diversion tunnel. I've put a few markers in for you that you may recognise, so you know where we are. If you know modern Castlefield, you know the bar, Duke's 92, and you'll know where Castlefield Bowl is. At Knott Mill, which is just at the bottom of Deansgate, the river disappears. Like I say, I will explain. And it runs in a tunnel all the way around Castlefield and finally emerges here at Potato Wharf. Now, I've put a blue line on. It's a bit crude, that line, because it's a bit angular. It doesn't run in such sharp angles like that, but you get the idea of which way the diversion tunnel is running. So, allow me to explain why the river is now in a tunnel. So here we go. You may recognise this area. An entire river disappears underground. And this shot here illustrates how the Medlock used to run onwards to that in the arch to the right into Castlefield Basin, but now it goes left into the diversion tunnel. So contrast the furiousness of that infall there with the calmness of the other side of the diversion tunnel that we're going to sail into in a moment. Anyway, let me show you this in flood and show you just how it can't cope with the waters in flood. The idea of bringing the river into a canal basin was quite a good idea because the river would fill the canal basin with water and there was a small flow on it. So as we've seen in Medlock number 11, it turned little water wheels that drove little hoists that were lifting the goods up to street level, because at Castlefield here we're at a lower level than street level. It was a good idea bringing the river in. But what they learned eventually was that, and as the Industrial Revolution took place, everyone and everything was throwing everything into the River Medlock. All these factories were springing up at the side of the Medlock, pumping the pollution into the Medlock. So everything from cinders, from fires, to pollution from factories, to dead dogs, cats, cows, everything you can imagine. The Medlock was black and polluted, and we're talking the early 1800s here, about 30, 40 years after the original idea of letting the Medlock flow into Castlefield Basin. Suddenly you've got this black, filthy, polluted water running into Castlefield Basin, and people were unloading boats, and can you imagine, it must have been very unpleasant because the whole place stunk. Now, what I should have mentioned here at this point is silt. The river was bringing with it huge amounts of silt and dumping it in Castlefield Basin, which was playing havoc with the boats. So it was pollution and it was silt, and that was causing major problems in the basin. So around about 1830, they decided what they would do is send the Medlock underground or run into Castlefield. So they had the choice. So they built the diversion tunnel. Now, in previous Medlocks, I've referred to this as the siphon, but it's not a true siphon. It's just a diversion tunnel. He sent it around Castlefield, and the way it rejoined its original route, the Medlock rejoined its original route over at Potato Wharf. Okay, so we're going to go in the diversion tunnel. First off, we're going to have an attempt at walking in. Obviously, this is the Potato Wharf side. You won't go in the other side at Knott Mill because that will be suicide. But the boys want to go in and take a look. There's going to be problems I'm going to explain to you as we go in. And then I'm going to take you in on the boat, and that's the only way to go in.
Going down the ladder. The heron! The heron! Please come back, heron! You're right, James.
Now the problem going in here is the middle is deep. It slopes off to the left hand side. There's a slope, and it's silty and muddy, and you get so far and you can't get any further. In fact, it actually gets quite dangerous with the silt. So I'm going to let you watch this lot struggle. I've sailed in here, so I'm alright. Try to turn normal. How far are you going in? Quite well, as far as I can get. You're not going to get much further now. Okay, so they did quite well. They didn't get much further than that before the mud became knee deep, and to the left of them was really deep water. So it's quite treacherous in here. You don't walk in here. So here we are, 2019. This is me on the kayak, and I'm gonna take you in as far as I can get. So here is a rare glimpse and rare footage of the Medlock Diversion Tunnel. Date built around about 1830. Oh, look at this. Alright, so I apologise for the camera angles, but I'm trying to propel the boat at the same time. This is mental, absolutely mental. Nothing but black ahead of us. And have you heard the echo on that? What? So we just noticed there another tunnel there that's all silted up. So it's brilliant, yeah. So that's strange, isn't it? Right, so as we're going in now, floating into the diversion tunnel, on the left hand side here we're just seeing there's that arch that's all filled in. What is that?
Well, that's a sewer overflow from one of the trunk sewers in Manchester that runs around Deansgate and close to the Castlefield area, and it outfalls into the Medlock before it hits the river.
You've got the end of something, but then it's been slightly extended with the brick on it. Anyway, that's where we're going. It's alright, that, innit? So I'll just paddle a bit more and then we'll get around that corner. Big spider thing there, look at that one. Hey, see if we can avoid it. Something in the water there. This is strange. Oh, the roof is getting lower, a bit scary. Where we are, you see the roof is actually getting quite low now, and up ahead there it looks like there's possible filled in, not sure. Right, so this bloody roof, see how far I am off the roof in here now, as it's got lower. Kev's going forward to see what's up there. So yeah, we would go onwards, but the problem is the roof has got so low. So Kev's checking it out. Has he got gloves on?
Yeah.
So he's got gloves on, but you see the roof.
No, I've got gloves on.
Have you not?
No.
All sorts of shenanigans on the roof there.
Running down my neck.
Is it? Shit. Yeah, not good.
Yeah, he was that inclined.
You know what, I have actually been in some places, but this is minging, mainly because of the ceiling and all the flies and knowing that there's deep water underneath you. This is the worst place ever. There is all sorts on the roof here. I can't even look. We think there's a blockage up ahead. Is it blocked up there, Kev?
What?
Is it?
Got a couple of pippies and
Well, I don't know if we have to stream the video, then you get the video to you somehow.
So you see, what's that? Is that
It's like a bubble thing. It's going to come a little bit further in, man.
yeah, I'll come and check on it. Is it like a little vent or something?
Nothing good, it's just brick. Brick right up.
Let's go and take a look at that, eh? Wow, look at that. Whoa, and whoa, look at this. Now this is either a vent that's been domed off and bricked off, or it was a shaft for construction and it's always been domed off. You'll never know, we'll never know what it is because there's so little documentation about this thing, but incredible. So basically up ahead there,
You have to crawl on it, hands and foot,
yeah,
hands and
it's
knees.
silted.
Silted right up to the ceiling. Well, there's definitely something coming across, diagonally across the tunnel. Definitely need to disinfect when you go.
Too right.
Very mad here when it's flooded.
So yeah, can you imagine when there's full flow of water coming down here? So that basically there is stopping us at the minute.
Is it? Is that cast iron pipe in it though? Is it metal?
It's just, it seems to be silted up. Sure whatever it was there.
So I was quite interested, and I'm sure you will be, to know how far we got into the diversion tunnel. Well, I don't think we got in very far at all. When I turn round, you can see lights way up in the distance behind me. So I don't think we got in very far. Remember, we've gone in at Potato Wharf here. But what's it like further up where the tunnel, you can see the tunnel is funneling down now and narrowing, and obviously the water touches the ceiling. But what's it like round in Castlefield, underground, that bit what we can't get to? Well,
So, let me introduce you to a company called GeoTerra. This company let Martin use the photos of the diversion tunnel when they was doing a survey.
not sure when the survey was, but I have to thank them for letting us use the photographs. About 200 years worth of crap has washed into that tunnel, so it doesn't look very nice, but they are fascinating photos and they exist nowhere else, so this is a bit of an exclusive for us. Try and turn this boat round now and go back down that way. This little narrow water-filled hellhole. Ah, my head is getting pressed that way. So try and spin round, try and get out. Sorry about the light. Well, so far I've done a crap job of turning the boat round in this little tiny tunnel. So I'm just going to go backwards for a bit until I can, because I ain't getting wedged in here. Because I hate to have to get out in here. That'll be horrendous. But you know what? The weird thing is, all the stuff we've done, looking at Standish tunnels and all the rest of it, and all the 17th sort of like architecture from the 1700s, 1800s, and just being in here, you kind of get a little bit of an impression of how it would have been in these horrible, horrible places that they had to work, doing brickying and stuff like that. Oh, the roof's getting higher now, so I can start sitting up in the boat. I'll just flip the camera around. Heading back out now. Managed to finally turn the boat round. Just keep myself away from the edge there. As we come back out into daylight now. Right, so this is the Giant's Basin in Manchester, Castlefield, and it's actually on the original route of the Medlock. The Medlock used to run this way. Hard to imagine now because you're talking pre-1765 before they decided to build a canal here and build a Bridgewater canal. So when I say the Giant's Basin is on the original route of the Medlock, that's what I mean. You can see the Medlock coming in from the top there on this old 1790 map. I think this is 1794. Medlock comes in at the top and runs through Castlefield Basin, or what would become the basin. I've labelled the Bridgewater Canal, the River Irwell. The centre there in the circle is where the Giant's Basin is, and then the Medlock runs on towards Potato Wharf and then eventually meets the Irwell. These things were never drawn completely accurate, but it's a basic representation of what was going on. And of course that arrangement there didn't work in the end because there was so much silt and pollution coming into Castlefield Basin. And that basin eventually turned into this, what you see now, which is an aerial view of Castlefield Basin as it is now, but with all the different canal spurs, and they fed all the different warehouses that were around here. Quite a few of the warehouses have now gone. The Giant's Basin is the overflow, and what it does is, obviously the canal waters can overflow here, run through a tunnel down here, down there, which I'm going to show you, and run through a short tunnel and rejoin the Medlock over there. It got radically overhauled. So the original version was in 1765, designed by Brindley. There you go, that's how it used to look, the Giant's Basin. It was kind of like a cloverleaf design. And again, different orientation on this map as well. You've got the Medlock coming in from the bottom and flowing towards the basin, the cloverleaf basin, and then top end of the picture it carries on. So sorry about the different orientations on the maps, but that's the way they drew them back sort of like pre-1800s. Go back to Medlock number 11 where I explain this fully and I show the cloverleaf design of it, but this got radically overhauled I think in the mid 1800s and it got rebuilt, but it's quite fascinating to be honest with you. Now, I've always been fascinated with that tunnel, and the final thing we're going to look at is that tunnel. I had a kind of fanciful idea that we could come in from the other end of that and appear there at the basin, but I knew it was probably dodgy. I wasn't sure. Let me show you where that tunnel runs. Okay, this explains it. There's the Giant's Basin, the red X, and the tunnel runs towards the yellow X, and there's that's where the yellow X is. That's the Medlock's original route. That's the way it was always there. It's been messed about with now. There is a drop down to that level. So it's only a short tunnel. So let me now show you over at the yellow X, the arrangement. As you can see here, looking forward, you can see the diversion tunnel. We've been in that, but if you look to the right here, you can see our little tunnel from Giant's Basin, and that's where it outflows. Let's go and investigate.
Oh, God.
Right, so here we are, Giant's Basin, or the other side of it. Always wanted to get here. I presume that, I bet there'll be bats in here and all sorts. Alright, so it's quite foreboding. So that'll be deep and silty. Can you see light on the other side? You actually can't see light on the other side. I'd love to go down there, but it's a bit, it'd be very, very dodgy to be honest with you. Right, so Roy's having a go. That's perfectly usual. I really wouldn't recommend it, like, but he's having a go. Is it silty?
It's tranquil.
Watch you don't breach your waders.
Yeah, and then the thing is, here, it's that silted, it just becomes impassable.
Really?
You need a dinghy or a lilo, and even then...
You're going, yeah.
It just joins the ceiling. It's like a giant sump.
Is it? Is it? You say that the water reaches the ceiling?
Yeah. Well, when I came down here many years ago, it was similar, but you could go a bit further. But literally, you're just going down there about what 30 metres, if that, and the water just joins because this slopes down, and it just meets the ceiling basically.
Right.
So yeah, not really a goer on any form.
So there you go. I knew it would probably be difficult getting in there and following through that tunnel, and I knew it would probably be a nightmare, but we just had to go and check it. Nightmare, silty nightmare with the water reaching the ceiling again. So thwarted again. Anyway, so there you go. I think I started in the back end of 2017, December, in Phillips Park Cemetery, and my initial idea was just to walk above ground and look at the Medlock and try and work out where it went. Turned into a monster. And through doing the Medlock, it connected me to you.
Yeah.
Because you'd already done it.
Many times.
And obviously James came along a bit later, and he was there for the tib correction video. That was his first video in the Medlock. So it's been, I like to say it's been an emotional journey, has it? Yeah, it has been an emotional journey, and it's probably the thing that I'll be remembered for the most. So there you go. I won't go on too much. That's the end of Medlock 12. That's the end of the Medlock. It's been a wonderful journey. So it's here, just near Hume Locks, where the Medlock finally meets the Irwell and its journey's end. I shall turn the camera around so you can see the Medlock where it comes out into the Irwell here. Down that way you've got Manchester city centre. Down that way you've got Salford. So journey's end. So from the end of the River Medlock.
Ta-ra!